Hi, I'm Stephen Daly, and today we're going to talk about my personal project, that being water. Water, in my opinion, is like the most important thing on earth. And today you're going to learn about why, and you're going to learn about how it's going to make you feel like a better person. So, um, First off, we're going to talk about plastic water bottles. Now, the earth, as we know, is dying. A very big problem with Earth is that there are lots of plastic bottles that take thousands of years to properly decompose, and so a lot of them naturally don't have anywhere to go after we use them. Well, there are like a few solutions to this. One of them is to like recycle, but recycling doesn't go terribly well because only about 20% of recyclable items actually get recycled, and they actually most of them end up going to the ocean, and they end up totally destroying ecosystems. And Another problem with recycling is that a lot of these big companies don't even do it unless they're really forced to, because recycling actually creates a net loss. So if a company isn't incentivized to recycle, they probably won't do it because it's a lot cheaper to just dump their stuff in the ocean. Now, you're probably wondering what this has to do with water. I tell you this because the necessity for drinking water from these bottles could hypothetically stop. Besides the convenience of bottled water, you could find it at like anywhere. Tap is better in just about every other way. The big plastic water bottle companies like Poland Springs and Nestle make their water appear pure and fresh, marketing it as things such as filtered and purified, which in hindsight sounds really great until you realize that all water meant for humans to drink is filtered and purified. Actually, water that you find from a tap in a public system is safety tested way more than any water from an independent company. So it's not just cleaner, it's also cheaper. Tap water is way cheaper, only costing about 3 cents per gallon, and versus like the average gallon of bottled water, which is which is a buck 30. Anyway, I like to use an alternative to water bottles, to plastic water bottles. I call them designated water bottles. I use a hydro flask, but any reusable water bottles will do. As long as it doesn't end up in a landfill for a very long time or ever, you're doing a great service to this planet and helping save it. Now, to slightly switch gears, water is super good for you, and I'm going to tell you why. So let's talk about how 75% of Americans are chronically dehydrated. That's most likely you. During the research portion of this, I used a few different driving questions, such as like, why do we need to drink water? And I'm going to give you a bunch of reasons that I found from a bunch of different sources on personal health and fitness. So, roughly 60% of our body is made of water. And so drinking water is necessary for everyone. And if we don't drink and we don't drink enough. So I'm trying to show you like why, you know what I mean? And so for any athletes out there who don't drink enough water, whether you're like me and run and have frequent joint achiness, drink water. Water helps increase the natural shock absorbing abilities on your joints, especially while you're running, which carries 3 times as much of your weight with every stride. Water also puts a lot of fluid in your spinal cord, puts a lot of fluid around your spinal cord, which is almost like a crash pad in case something happens. And it lubricates your joints, so it helps you move more like freely. So think about like putting WD-40 in a machine that needs to move a little faster. That's pretty much what water does to the human body. Now, water also naturally releases tooth decay. Do you ever get really bad heartburn? You could just be dehydrated. Heartburn is a sign of dehydration. And so water is a pretty common cure to a lot of problems. And there's no name for it, but just kind of feeling trashy in general and like overtired, drinking water and taking a shower is a really good way to wipe away that fatigue. And It's a really good alternative to taking things like Advil if you're just sore. And if you're also hungry after you ate, drink some water. It kind of helps even that out. And so, while researching this portion, the driving question was, do athletes overhydrate? From this, I can tell you that they totally do. Let's talk about how some athletic teams in America have coaches pressure their players into drinking water, like too much water, and 3 have actually died from overhydration in the last decade. One high school athlete in Mississippi died of overhydration after he drank 2 gallons of water and 2 gallons of Gatorade after a practice to, quote unquote, try to prevent muscle cramping. Ironically, he died of the same thing that he was trying to prevent. And this happened by overconsuming. This is a bit rare, but it's called exercise-based hyponatremia. Hyponatremia happens when we drink too much water but don't consume enough salt. A really freaky problem that comes along with this is that we experience symptoms of dehydration when we go through this. So we feel like we need to drink more water when in reality, our cells become overrun and so water just kind of exists there and doesn't actually get processed. And you might throw up. You might feel like really nauseous for days. It's terrible. But on the other hand, on the other side of the coin, dehydration is very dangerous. If your body drops below 2% salt, cognitive function becomes completely impaired. Many wrestlers actually have died have actually died while trying to dehydrate themselves while trying to lose weight. A lot of wrestlers, they do stuff like working out in rubber suits, trying to lose body weight. Fluid experts, brain scanners, and clinicians who specialize in this kind of stuff all say that you need to drink when you're thirsty. Mammals do it. It's a thing. We have this thing in our brain called the neurocrine thirst circuit, which dates back about 700 million years, which shows that animals are totally fine just by drinking when they're thirsty. And basically, humans have to do this too because we spend a lot of time focusing on what Life magazines tell us to drink when they're not the actual experts. And when it comes to drinking recommendations, a lot of runners drink a predetermined amount of water. We should actually be focused, I say that because I'm a runner too. We should be focusing on drinking when we feel like we have to. A problem that stems from this is that 80% of marathon runners end up gaining weight by the end of their race because it's offered and they'll end up overhydrating themselves. So moral of the story is to drink when you're thirsty and don't sweat what the non-X get it, because I said sweat and you sweat when you exercise, and don't sweat what the non-water experts tell you because it's most likely wrong. Drinking water is really great for your health and you should most likely drink more of it because you will feel better and it'll lead to a healthier lifestyle. And you'll also be contributing in saving the planet when you use your hydro flask or reusable water source. I hope this video helps moisten your day, and this is like the first unofficial MLC talk. Sincerely, Stephen Daly. Thank you very much.